today, Rinpoche continued his explanation of the 6th chapter of Chandrakirti's Entrance to the Middle Way, going over the two sides of all phenomena, conventional truth and ultimate truth, and explaining how conventional truth is also called concealer truth because it conceals the object's actual identity, its ultimate nature of emptiness. We'll go on that. Let's listen.
Oh yeah, that also. Omanju bata ma ka shukure. Ye de sanji de no tongji, sanji shangju san ba le zhong. Hinju san de ye zu me lo tong, shangju san je se na ji jus. Ye de dan sanji de ra je ye bu de, ne sha zhe tu ba lu chong ba le si. Sanji kan le chong ba le se na, shangju san ba lu chong ba le si. Shangju san ba de kan lu chong ba le se na, 네, 내가 조선 전부다 돈이 더 비싸다. 되네. 상주 산주마송 동버스. 상주 산 제지나지죠.
So welcome to the Chenrezig Tibetan Buddhist Center once again. It's the first Wednesday of the month, and Rinpoche is teaching Chandrakirti's Entrance to the Middle Way, the Madhyamika Avatara. And this text begins with homage to Manjushri, tender, glorious, ever youthful. And then it states, the Shravakas and those halfway to Buddhahood are born from the mighty sage. And Buddhas take their birth from Bodhisattva heroes. Compassion, non-duality, the wish for Buddhahood for others' sake are causes of the children of the conqueror. So right here from the beginning it states that the hearers and the solitary realizers are caused by the Buddha. So if we look at the Buddha of our time, that's Buddha Shakyamuni. So Buddha Shakyamuni and is what allows for or gives rise to the hearers and the solitary realizers, meaning the arhats of the hearers and the solitary realizers. So those foe destroyers come from the Buddha. And it says, where does the Buddhist come from? The Buddha comes from a bodhisattva. And where does a bodhisattva come from? So here it states that the bodhisattva comes from the understanding of great compassion, and it says then with non-duality, meaning the understanding of emptiness, the understanding of the nature of things, and the wish for Buddhahood for others' sake are the causes of the children of the conqueror. So what causes a bodhisattva? Bodhisattva is caused by great compassion, non-duality, and bodhicitta, or the wish for Buddhahood for others' sake. Here is what they've used to explain bodhicitta, how they've explained in this text bodhicitta, the wish for Buddhahood for others' sake. So we see right from the beginning this emphasis, if one wishes to become a Buddha, on this great compassion, emptiness, and the mind that aspires to enlightenment. Dene the yimbi cha rinpoche, the tomba ni yimbi ma cha, the tambo, the shiloki tambo, the wangon wandu. The Shanchu Sembi Wangon Wandu. Gangisina the Ngundo Sanjay Jin Tu Sanjay to Samba
Sanjay Shanchu Samba Letroji. He just said the Yesu Melotan, Shanchu Sanjay.
The Nisu Me, the Yimbi Cha Macha. Gangisina Shanchu Samba Kanga Yisu Me.
Shanchu Samba and then Chusum Trump Machas order. Shanchu Samba honored.
Less so.
Honored the word, Mado.
Less so.
Less so.
Less so.
What does one there?
So in this first where it speaks of this non-duality, this is referring to a bodhisattva of sharp capacity. So when we look at, there are divisions of beings of sharp capacity and dull capacity. A being of sharp capacity, in this case, is referring to a bodhisattva who has already traversed the stages of the lower path and seen emptiness directly. There are different types of bodhisattvas. There are those bodhisattvas who have seen emptiness already when they become bodhisattvas. So then their great compassion becomes observationless great compassion. So we look at, as a translator's note, the three types of compassion: compassion that observes sentient beings, compassion that observes phenomenon, and compassion that observes that which can't be observed, or observationless compassion. And that is arrived at by a being of sharp capacity who has seen emptiness already, and then couples it with these realizations. So that would be an example of, not the only example, but an example of that type of compassion, which is that observationless compassion, great compassion. So this first stanza, when it says compassion, non-duality, and the wish for Buddhahood for others' sake, doesn't mean that one necessarily needs non-duality and the realization of it to become a bodhisattva. So here it says, causes of the children of the conqueror. You would say, if you were to look at that from a debate perspective, you would say, non-duality is not necessarily a cause of the children of the conqueror, though. So you would say great compassion is, because it's a cause of bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is what makes someone a bodhisattva. So great compassion and the wish for Buddhahood for others' sake are necessary, but the non-duality, the realization of non-duality, isn't necessary for that person to be a bodhisattva. This is speaking of a bodhisattva of sharp capacity, specifically when it says compassion, non-duality, and the wish for Buddhahood for others' sake are the causes of the children of the conqueror. One could omit non-duality if we were referring to a being of dull capacity, a bodhisattva of dull capacity. So that's all. And just as just another note, no matter what, that bodhisattva has studied emptiness. If they've gotten to the point where they're generating bodhicitta, they just haven't necessarily had a direct perception of it at the path of seeing, whereas a sharp capacity being may have already become a foe destroyer in the Hinayana vehicle, might already be liberated, might already have achieved nirvana, but it's an abiding nirvana, and they have to go back and do the whole bodhisattva path in order to become a Buddha, because they still have obstructions to omniscience. So that would be an example of a sharp capacity bodhisattva, one who's already liberated but isn't omniscient yet because the obstructions to omniscience were not removed, only the afflictive obstructions have been. Digsong Rinpoche.
Yangda tong yin dun dong dong denpa, denpa tong yin dun kundu denpa sons. Ta tongan zunpa wang, kundu denpa la yin ni yuwaris. Ni du de, ombu se dong, ombu jun den wang jang na chi sheba ne, ombu le ju she du loban dus, ombu le ju she du loban du. Naba mebi ombu jun na je, zong ka ji den je du de. Jiden nile denyi, hamanin jiden nile loba naba jaas. Watege ta, kudu deba dono, deba jiden duwa, kudu deba la ina, ni, kasa, ombu sedan, ombu juden no, onshi lo shedan, matri sheba niga yu ni dile, ane kudu ni yungres, ombu le ju shedu loba du. Naba mebe ombu chuna che, zunga kashi jiden che du, jiden nile denyi, hamani jiden nile luba naba jas. Jiten shungla tune yada denpa to kudu denpa nis wote jadin sar.
Mene chukaba kaso, Rinpoche. Tama. Okay, tu chena. Ja. Chen, I keep hearing him say shag. Okay, shag. I get it. I see. Okay, so we're going to begin stanza number 23 on chapter 6. It's page, I don't know. Sorry. 60, 59, 58, 57 maybe, 56, I think. All objects may be seen in truth or in delusion. They thus possess a twin identity. The Buddha said the ultimate is what is seen correctly. The wrongly seen is all concealing truth. Deluded vision has, it's said, a double face, according to the organ's good or impaired functioning. Perceptions that derive from faulty faculties compared with what the healthy senses know are held to be mistaken, and everything the 6 undamaged senses grasp within the ordinary experience of the world is held as true. According to the world, the rest according to the world is false. So here it's stating that all objects possess a twin identity. They both have ultimate truth and conventional truth. So here where it says all concealing truth, this is referring to conventional truth. As a translator's note, sometimes it's this word concealing truth is used instead of conventional truth. And the reason for it is it's a more literal translation of the Tibetan, of the Sanskrit, if we trace it back. And the reason for it is that conventional truth conceals what it ultimately is. So it makes it look like it's something that truly exists from its own side without any kind of interdependence. So conventionally, when we see, as a translator's note, a bell, we first just perceive it through our eye consciousness and believe that there's just something here that is inherently existent as a bell. We don't see that its interdependence in a maker and metal and different things that came together and then we name as a bell. We just see it as a bell. So that perception of being able to just see that bell is its conventional truth, because it isn't any kind of investigation further than what it appears as. And what it's saying in here is, when it comes to conventional truth, there is correct conventional truth and incorrect conventional truth. So here, let's go through it. Rinpoche did both, so I just want to do it as literally with him as possible. All objects may be seen in truth or in delusion. So truth here is referring to ultimate truth. Delusion is referring to conventional truth. Conventional truth, that word delusion can be explained in 2 ways, though, about conventional truth as well. So it says they thus possess a twin identity. The Buddha said the ultimate is what is seen correctly. The wrongly seen is all concealing truth. So here, ultimate truth is what is correct. Conventional truth is ultimately not correct. But there are 2 kinds of conventional truth. Within conventional truth, there's correct conventional truth and incorrect conventional truth. So, for instance, a white snow mountain, it says that the world agrees on. Everyone would agree that that mountain is white. So you would be accurate to say that's a white snow mountain. But if someone has jaundice, they would think it's yellow. And they would say that's a yellow snow mountain. So the correct conventional truth is that it's a white snow mountain. The incorrect conventional truth is that it's a yellow snow mountain. Why is that incorrect? Because it's been arrived at through faulty senses. There's a fault in it. There's a mistaken perception, even conventionally. So conventional truth can be mistaken even further than it already being mistaken with regard to the actual identity of the object. It can be mistaken relative to what it actually is according to the world. So here it says deluded vision has, it's said, a double face according to the organ's good or impaired functioning. So that's example of, for instance, if you have jaundice, you would see everything as yellow, for instance. So if you saw a white snow mountain as yellow, you have an organ that is impaired. If it was good, it would see it as white. So it's saying perceptions that derive from faulty faculties compared with what the healthy senses know are held to be mistaken. So even within conventional truth, which we call concealing truth, there is mistaken conventional truth and non-mistaken conventional truth. How do we know? Everything the 6 undamaged senses grasp within the ordinary experience of the world. So it's saying, if the world says this is a bell, we all agree it's a bell, as long as there's nothing wrong with my eyes and so forth, and I perceive this and call it a bell, then it's accurate to say that it's a bell because everyone would agree it's a bell, and I'm perceiving it as what everyone would perceive if their eyes weren't impaired in some way. So I'm seeing, according to Buddhism, as long as everyone in this room's eyes are working properly, we're all seeing the same thing. And we're all saying that's a bell. No one in here is seeing an elephant in my hand, according to Buddhism. That everybody's perception, there's valid and invalid. And we all will agree this is a bell. If there's someone in this room that says it's an elephant, they're having probably an invalid perception, unless we've all, gone crazy somehow. So that's what it means. What the world concurs, what the world agrees upon, is also a factor in whether or not something is this or it is that. Not only is it that your senses aren't impaired, because then you could have unimpaired senses and just call something the wrong thing because you're ignorant. So that's why the worldly idea comes into it. So it's not just unimpaired, it's also everyone concurs that it's called that. So then that's how you can establish whether something is conventional truth or not. And it's accurate if it falls under those categories. Unimpaired, and the world agrees that it's this or that. But it's concealing its actual truth, and that is that it's empty, that it lacks true establishment because it dependently originates. So it's saying that if your senses are undamaged and you perceive something, and what you perceive is agreed upon by the rest of the world as being this or that, then that's an accurate conventional truth. But that is only conventional truth. That isn't its ultimate truth. So the twin identity is this bell is a bell, but the bell's emptiness is so it being a bell is its conventional truth. The emptiness of this bell is its ultimate truth. So that's its twin identity. This bell is conventional truth and ultimate truth simultaneously. But in order for the ultimate truth to be established, there has to be conventional truth. There has to be a conventional bell here in order for there to be an emptiness of a conventional bell. So the twin identity is dependent upon itself in order for it to maintain. So that's why it's a twin identity, and they sometimes say it's two sides of a coin or something like this. Let me just make sure I got everything in there. So here it's speaking of ultimate truth is the correct view. Conventional truth has a flaw, has an error, because it's only investigated things at a very surface level. So it's flawed, but it's flawed within terms of ultimate truth. It can be flawed within terms of its own conventional truth if it's been arrived at in an incorrect way. So it's breaking it down into two major headings, conventional and ultimate. And then it's saying conventional truth has two categories, correct conventional and mistaken conventional. So it's basically, if you looked at it from an outline, you'd have the reality, and then you'd have it break off ultimate truth, conventional truth, and then conventional truth would break off into mistaken and non-mistaken. Diksung Rinpoche, less so.
Kondu debi chani. Kondu deba la ina jiden shingon la tuyo yangda da kondu ni. Toni la loka ma shiwe kanda ke zomba tu nyoba dala jiden shingon la tuyo yangda. Loba tu nyoba dala zomba. Wata ne yungo sare.
Let's go. Let's do it. We're going to do it. Let's do this. Hold on. Let's go. So give me one moment. Ditsko Rinpoche. Ni selpo shatu. I'm getting there. Just give me one moment, everybody. Okay, so all phenomena can be broken down into two truths, the ultimate truth and conventional truth. So conventional truth is established, the inherent existence that the conventional truth conceals is established by ignorance. So I just want to get the definition. Oh, here we go. So an ultimate truth is necessarily the emptiness of any object. So the emptiness of any object is that object's ultimate truth, and the conventional truth is the apprehension of the object with a non-mistaken awareness that the world concurs, that the world agrees upon. So it says an ultimate truth, or literally a highest object truth. So if we look at Dundan Demba, we look at that word which Rinpoche is saying, and we look at the word itself, highest object truth is the literal translation of ultimate truth. So we've made it ultimate, but the words in the Tibetan say highest object truth, because it says, because an emptiness is the most exalted of all phenomenon and is the object of the wisdom that realizes suchness. It's a truth because it exists the way it appears in direct cognition. So when we look at concealer truths, they're called that because all other objects are assumed by ignorance to exist by the way that they appear. So an ignorant consciousness is not just a consciousness which does not know subjects suchness, but a concealer of suchness. So it's concealing its actual identity. So when we look at what a conventional truth is doing, it says it's concealing suchness, and it's actively assenting to the false appearance of objective existence. So the just objective existence is what the conventional existence is, without looking further into how it actually exists. So I think I got everything. Conventionality. I just want to make sure I defined everything. Rinpoche defined all the things I just defined. All existence except emptinesses are conventional truth and interdependent existence. Okay. Ngay Sampa Digsong Rinpoche. The Gonzon Demba, Dundun Demba, Donda. Ngay Sampa Kanga Loso. Seni. The Gonzo Demba Seni Yanjar Surana.
Kudu Dubi Tsama. Kudu Dubi Tsama Suye, Kudu Debi Seni.
Gunzu dopi sema. So a valid. Okay, so the definition of a conventional truth is an object of apprehension of a conventional valid cognition. So valid cognition meaning it's unimpaired, and conventional valid cognition meaning it's not an ultimate valid cognition. It's just conventional valid cognition. And within the word conventional, you'll find that the word concur. What qualifies it as conventional is that the world concurs, and then the valid cognition makes it so that it's unerring. There isn't an error in its apprehension. So that was the only thing that I missed. Okay, Kanga Dikso.
Tā machine ji roju mati jen na ji da ni ji ta ba da ju ma me ju so la ta ba ga so da ji den le jo ma yin shi zu la so ba do so ga lo kun da me ba ma ji den ga ta ni do yo ma des da ji den le jo yo mi min ro ri jen ji me ba yi ro ri me shi la ne Menjetar Tenzin Chenmo Geshe Lharampa Chenmo la naba yo mayin Tamo raji dish kundu de kant chuma deba tantane kundu de toba de rason chuma jubi ona kundu dos Men rari jenji meba ye, rari meshilana nami chetar, tijin cheme ishe bomba ye, cheme lola naba ye ma ye, tamo raji dish kundu de, tamo raji dish, chuna deba chupa delzi de, tako nani thunga la driba ye zang, driji kundu res, kundu de, 대강 주마 대반 하더네 군주 대시 토바 대송도 대반 하더네 군주 대시 다 단연 sama 수 년도에 군주 대바자고 그랬어 하더네 군주 대시 토바 대송도 선지가 송도 그랬어
Lesso.
주마 주비 뭐나 군주도 오사 군주도 다 Jiden shingula to the other to go to the
Lesso. Ravi. Decent.
What did you
The self, as it's imagined by the Tirthikas, enveloped as they are in ignorance's sleep, and mirages and tricks of sight are all construed as real, though they have no reality in ordinary experience. Rinpoche, the Surabe, the Mishe Niki Raju Mu Te Chen. The Surabe. Shalupa Su. Hindu. Su. Hindu Chu. Garichu. Shalupa. Ale. Okay, Tuche. Okay, so the self, the Tirthikas are a non-Buddhist tradition, and it's those who apprehend a true self. Rinpoche said there's many, I don't know if he's saying that this refers to many, but Rinpoche is saying there's many traditions that believe in this true self. You can find it within the enumerators or the Sankhya school, Rinpoche said, and so forth. So I asked him about this word, Tirthikas, and that's what he said. It's a group of non-Buddhist practitioners who hold that things have true self, or truly exist, have true existence in some way. So the self, as it's imagined by the Tirthikas, enveloped as they are in ignorance's sleep, and mirages and tricks of sight are all construed as real, though they have no reality in ordinary experience. Whatever is perceived with dimmed, defective sight has no validity compared with what is seen by healthy eyes. Just so a mind deprived of spotless wisdom has no power to contradict a pure, untainted mind. The nature of phenomena enshrouded by our ignorance is all concealed, but what the ignorance contrives appears as true. And so the Buddha spoke of all concealing truth, and thus contrived phenomena are all concealing. So when knowing that all phenomena that isn't emptiness that is valid is referred to as all concealing truth or conventional truth. And what is it concealing? It's concealing the nature of reality, the object's true nature. So it's compared to defective sight. Conventional truth is versus someone who has healthy eyes. So if someone has defective sight, they might they might view something incorrectly. They might see something to be one way, but it's really another way. And that's compared to the way that concealing truth operates in relation to us. It allows us to perceive something in a way that conceals the way it truly abides. So it conceals, it allows us to apprehend something at a gross level, and its actual truth itself is what we grasp onto and believe is real. So it's concealing what is accurate, and that is its lack of true establishment. So if it's difficult because they're using this good eyes and bad eyes here, and it's not referring to what we meant before when we were saying conventional truth. It's just using an example that's similar, but it has nothing to do with incorrect conventional truth, this example. This example is just saying ultimate truth is like having clear eyesight, whereas conventional truth is like having a little bit of a dimmed eyesight where you don't clearly see everything correctly. You might see the shape correctly. You might have an idea of it. What your idea of it is correct, but its whole identity you aren't perceiving because it's being concealed by its roughness. So Rinpoche, does that? Okay.
Rari tui chashi la sobra ngon loba kanji nata pa teni dani kanto me tape tonda teni tejin darshe ji kete jiten tsama ina na jiten teni tonyu pajen ji jegu pabi lanji chishi sha lomba tsama ribang 마이노 나군 지된 sem에 대셔 대니 거서 지된 너바메 지된 돈에 지된 자니제 게드세나 지된 제는 조로 강하신 지된 사분장도네 다그번데 제시 네 제시 파시진 신앙 조수 냐도 도드나 젠레지와 제덴레자마스 어떤데 소소는 달레지와 젠레지와 랑 천지 주부 제젠레 랑 천지 주부 저비젠 제와데 네 도도도 메바마제 군주단 요마레스 어떤 소대 자마르바
Okay.
Then Shindu the Gatuba in Salada, Shindu Chibuba ina, the Gatuba in Saroda, see the town Chiburetaro, Shindu Chibutu Meditu Maroda, Susun de Chibucharo.
Lesso.
What does the son answer?
Ale, Giade, Jikden Sum, yeah. Okay, I see. Tuche. All right, I just wanted to make sure where he left off and just get all of the proper commentary. Those who suffer from an eye disease will falsely think they see black lines and other things, but healthy eyes will see what is the case. Suchness, we should understand, is similar to this. So faulty eyesight will misapprehend things. A good eyesight will say, this is exactly what it is, or this is this is that. There wouldn't be kind of this misunderstanding of what is being observed. So suchness, we should understand, is similar to this. So emptiness is like that. Once it is understood, it is like seeing things with a clear eye as opposed to seeing them concealed. So when we see an object's emptiness, we see it fully. We don't see it as if we're seeing it halfway with a dimmed, broken, impaired eye. So if ordinary perception yielded true and valid knowledge, suchness would be seen by common folk. What need for aryas then? What need for noble paths? It's wrong to take the foolish mind as validly cognizing. In every aspect, ordinary experience has no validity. The ultimate, therefore, is not thereby refuted. Empirical phenomena consensus will approve, and all denial of them consensus will negate. And so a man who merely left his seed will say, this is the child I fathered. Likewise, people think, this tree is what I planted. Thus, common practice too denies extraneous production. So there is this grasping at things as being truly established without seeing the dependent origination, without seeing the interdependence and so forth. So ordinary appearance, it's saying that in order to arrive at the ultimate truth of phenomena, it's necessary to investigate. It's not something that just correct, valid cognition will lead to, because it's concealed. It's not something that we just apprehend with our eyesight. It's something that has to be investigated. It's something that has to be realized through the Arya paths and so forth in order to apprehend. It's wrong to take the foolish mind as validly cognizing. So if we say that this bell is being observed by valid cognition, we can't say that this bell's the nature of this bell's reality is being observed when I say bell, because I don't see any of that. What I see is bell. I stop at that point when it comes to just my apprehension and valid cognition of that object. It requires that investigation and analysis in order to look beyond the concealment, if you will, to uncover what it's concealing, and that is interdependence. And it gives the example of a tree. A tree is planted, and then seed and water, and then it grows, and then you have a sprout, and then there's this and that, and then it eventually matures into a full tree with leaves and so forth. But to merely think, to plant a seed and say, this tree is what I planted, in the sense of that it inherently exists without any kind of extraneous production, that it was just that this tree inherently exists as a tree because of what I did, without seeing any production between it, just seeing that that's my tree that I made. It's as ignorant as that, as ignorant as not seeing, in the case of a man who has left his seed, that there needed to be an egg, and there needed to be 9 months, and then there a birth, and so forth. It'd be as ignorant as not seeing that there's more to it than just than that one thing. Just make sure. Okay, Digson.
Rory thi jashi la zoba, mon loba kanji na taba, teni dani kanto, meme be, tuan teni tijin darsheje, tete jiden sama inane, jiden teni tonyu, pajin je, jeshi jigu, Pabilan Geshe Lharampa Tsama Riba Mayino Now Gun Jiden Tsimi Teacher Tini Kosu Jiden Nobame Jiden Tune Jiden Tani Je Ketasena Jiden Je No Bureau Kanshi Jiden Saban Tantane Daga Bunda Geshe Mashijin Xiang Zizu Yang Tudena Tuduna Jen Le Jawa Jiden Le Jame Jen Le Jawa Jiden Le Jame Taka Sugure Ama Tuguno Bogu Jigrovata the Saban Tabal and Bogu Jigure and the Boding Ngai Borisada Nali Chibaras Logro and she may go tree to Galo and Netu over his logro. Tree Chibato to Ayomaro. Saban Ton Galega Chibachasmaro. What the Susan de Marbe?
So this idea that a man just saying, "I left my seed, and here's the child," and not seeing this the production of growth and so forth, just seeing the child and not arriving that there were days before. Just the belief that, like, I planted my seed, here's the child, and not seeing anything in between. Like, if that kind of ignorance is the same ignorance that this is compared to, or believing that you planted a mango seed and then now you come back and there's a mango tree there, and saying that that I planted that seed and there is that tree, as if there was nothing that was required for it to come to that point. So that's how we look at an item. We look at it like bell, without seeing that there was a maker and that there's metal there and it was bent, and then it's an object that has a basis of designation that's suitable to be called bell. So when we investigate it further, an item further, we see that it is not inherently existent because of self. It's not inherently existent because it is arisen from other. It's not inherently existent because it's a combination of both self-arisal and arisal from other. And it's not inherently existent because it is causeless in some way. So this next section of the text is negating inherent existence of self, inherent existence of inherent production of self, inherent production of other, inherent production of a union of both, and inherent production of causeless inherent production. So that's what we're going to see negated here. Okay, Dixon. So dene de sopun de shenla jewa pon.
다 사부 매고 트위기 시도발은 매고 찍으러. 아니 어디 신도도 내서 벌려고. 신도 좀 도와요 뭐. 조종 제가 좀 잡으러.
Dene garika de ranla jepa shenla jepa.
근데 소사 랑 천이 주비 주jenle 랑 천이 주비 드비jen 줘요 말았어.
Genla jewa.
Genla jo 가고.
Dene so this first stanza 32 negates the idea of inherent production of other. So it negates the idea that that somehow other makes. So somehow here it's negating that idea that somehow that there's a seed planted and a child produced without any other things. If it was produced inherently from other, then it wouldn't be necessary for there not to be anything but that to have taken place. Seed, and then that somehow would magically arise, but that's not the case. So this negates inherent arisal from other. Then I believe 33 negates inherent arisal of self. Dene.
내가 사병을 뒤에서 내가 nyugu 뒤에 말했어. 내가 nyugu 뒤에 사병 가서 그랬어. 어떻게 해야 말봐. 준주 뒤에 뒤에 말했어.
John Chenbu.
장쟁과 주디스 내부 요아레스.
Lesso.
사병을 뒤에서 nyugu 요아레스.
Lesso.
사병을 뒤에서 nyugu 매나 nyugu 사병을 nyugu 뒤에 온도 왔어. 간데스 nyugu레스. 그 사병을 뒤에서 nyugu 요아레스 장쟁로 들어왔다.
So the next one will negate the view of the enumerators of the Samkhya school that believe that the result is inherent within the cause. So the belief of the Samkhya school is that things arise from themselves somehow, so that a seed has a sprout within it. But we see that seed and sprout are two separate entities, and that the seed is discarded when the sprout arises, and the sprout then matures and becomes something more, something further. So we see that seed would have to always be present with sprout, and there wouldn't be distinction, and there wouldn't be disintegration of seed and arisal of sprout if they were one and the same. If the result was inherent in the cause, then the cause would still be present when the result was present. So you would have to still have seed when sprout was arise. But you see that seed is and sprout would arise without watering seed, and it would always be there. And there wouldn't be anything necessary to go with seed in order for there to be sprout if there was inherent production from seed. You can also call it only if it makes more sense. It only is that. It's only the seed that makes it. And when we know that it's not only that. And it takes interdependence. So this next, Bene?
내가 사면 나오는데 nyugu 호부도 요아레스. 맨날 실로나 간데스 요아레스. 가만 나오면 맨날 가만 나오면 못 해요 말was. 그 실로 봐도 대신 말봐.
So we have the ability. So the ability of the seed possesses a power or an ability with cooperating factors to produce a sprout. It isn't sprout itself. So that's the distinction. In some non-Buddhist schools and some Buddhist schools, in some subtle ways, believe in this internal production, that somehow seed is sprout, but we see that that's not the case. It's similar to the Kamba, the Yanjar Suranang, the Kamba la.
Kamba nalu mamena kamba mantaya maro. Then I submit in all new homage manner, and the shell to have your maro. Transing with the no new to yours. New to shell to yours.
So Kamba deken mena? Yene Kamba deken nupa yure.
Kamba nalu mamena?
Yeah.
Kamba the maton yomaro.
Kamba me ton.
May want yomaro.
Okay.
Kamba nalu mayon and mayungro.
Less so.
What the common alum man was seeing all hobbit manna and then negotiation was now seeing all and you go to you others.
Okay, then a Yanjar Suranang Jupo, then a la.
Yeah.
I make the.
That day is having all and you go to you others.
Less so.
Manna, Kushulu and you go to your marwa.
Less so.
Could they shade the marba?
Less so.
Common alum man and children to Matam was.
Less so.
Then you seven all you go to your others.
Less so.
What they shade.
I'm going to have to say it out loud in order to make sure it's right, and then I may need to correct it. It's just something I've not heard before. So it's similar to the idea that a sprout, so a seed merely possesses the potential to produce a sprout. Likewise, if a house is empty of someone going inside, it requires someone going inside for there to be someone in the house. But the house possesses the potential to have someone inside it, but it doesn't have someone inside it until someone comes in the house. So it would be like saying that the house has someone inside it already because it has the potential to have someone inside it. Something like that. Does that make sense? Okay, so it's like saying that since the seed the seed has the potential to give, if we believed that because the seed has the potential to give rise to sprout, that means that its effect is in its cause, that would mean if a house has the potential for someone to go in it, that there's already someone in there in order for someone to go in there, because the effect is present within the cause. So just because something has the ability to produce something doesn't mean that it is something, is basically what it's saying. So that's a good example. Anyway, okay, selpolason. De yabudu.
Yeah.
De shera yabudu. Kamba tomba. De shera yabudu. Selpodu.
Yeah.
Nene?
That's
Triwa dan lenja.
lenja.
Okay, Rinpoche wants question and answers. That's what we're doing. Anybody have any questions? That's a great example. Because a house can be full, it doesn't mean that a seed can't be a sprout unless you put water and all these other things on it. A house can't be full unless someone walks in and decides they want to walk in. And anyway, interesting. Any questions? Coleman.
I've asked this before, but I wanted to just ask it again.
Of course.
I've been practicing hatha yoga for like a couple of years now.
Okay.
And I don't know, does that come like I remember saying like, I remember you said that it has to do with Buddhism, but does Rinpoche know where it originated, like the poses and stuff like that, and is it practiced by Tibetans or just? I don't know. Just some background information on it.
I was saying that there is a Tibetan yoga that was done for sure. Hatha yoga, I don't know if that's the specific one.
Yeah, like downward dog and stuff like that.
Yeah. There are the Tibetan yoga I've seen, and again, this is a book that I read. It was in a retreat center, and I read a book, and it was saying that there was a secret Tibetan yoga tradition, and this gentleman had gone and received the teachings on it and then made this tradition up. So he was saying that there is a link and that there is a yogic tradition. Rinpoche, the ngampi chu, the yoga yurube, the gomja. Nejor, the kaju mambo the yure. Dene galupa the dangadoe. Mambo. So yeah, there are yoga poses in the tantric tradition within Tibetan Buddhism. I've seen it a lot in the kaju tradition. A lot of the ngapas, the tantric adepts that aren't ordained, the ngapas, they wear the white robes. But I've seen that a lot, where they do it in caves and so forth. But it's not widespread in any way, shape, or form. The yoga practices and poses that would be done in Tibetan Buddhism would be very secret, high-level practices and aren't something that are done in the monastery daily. The poses and so forth are used for exercise, and if you'll see monks doing it for exercise, but not as a spiritual practice until it's higher. It's not a common thing. Like I lived all over India, and I never saw once anyone doing yoga that wasn't in a Hindu temple or a hippie.
Like you didn't see anyone like doing warrior pose or anything?
No,
really?
Never,
really?
Not once.
Wow.
Not once.
I think it originated there. Right?
Ted.
A lot of prostrations and circumambulation.
Yes, for sure. But as far as full yoga, yes, a lot of prostrations and all for merit gaining reasons. But as far as channels and all of that, that is not common practice. But would be something that would be more of a secret practice. And the examples I've seen of videos of it were yogis in a cave, and it was not supposed to be seen by a Westerner, or the first time it's ever been seen. And they like jump up in the air and then land in a full lotus on the ground. And they keep doing that, and they jump. They actually spring from full lotus like 6 feet in the air and then land back in full lotus.
I saw that in a documentary on YouTube called
Probably the same one.
The Yogis of Tibet.
Yeah, I think that's the one I saw.
Yeah,
So
like a blue mat or something.
yeah, it's not super common at all. Ngay this segadu. Yine the drapon ganden sera ladrona. The drapa the dang mare ngay tomason. Sanwa nga dana chikshena. Yine the nima dakpar the drapa chun chun the konso yoga dang mare. Lutsi tsansan. Lutsi. Yeah, so they're debating, Rinpoche said. They don't have time for yoga. Yeah, I was saying I never saw any monks doing yoga or any of the people in any of the classes, and he said that's because they're debating.
And the prostrations, I've done them not many, but that's almost a form of exercise too, right?
Have you ever seen someone who does those? They're like as fit as anybody's ever been. The monks that go and do the retreats when you're in Kathmandu, they look like they're jacked, like completely cut, like they've been,
And it's doing merit at the same time, right? So it's
Well, that's the reason for it. It has nothing to do with exercise to them whatsoever. It's about gaining merit. But as a result, you're going down and it's a burpee, basically. That's what a prostration is physically. If you're looking at what toning is happening, you're doing a burpee, you know? So, but yeah, there are forms of it. It's done secretly because it would have to do with channels. And you don't get into channels and chakras until you're in Yoga Tantra. Action Tantra doesn't have that. Action Tantra doesn't have chakras and the manipulation of winds and all that. Does not. I mean, everyone has chakras and channels. It doesn't mean that you suddenly don't, you get them when you graduate. It's just, it's not something that you do in Action Tantra.
Yeah,
You're not,
I was just curious
you don't
about
manipulate winds and drops and energy channels till Yoga Tantra. That's for big boys and girls. Anyone else? We good? Everyone's tired? Okay, Chenmo. Gadu. Ngama. Ale. So a long time ago, the doctor said it's important that you do exercise. And Rinpoche was saying that he told them about debate. And debate is a lot of exercise. If you watch the debate in the monastery, it's an enormous amount of energy and spinning and you have to see it. So anyway, so anybody who hasn't seen it, so you've got someone sitting down, right? This is how Tibetan debate works. You have someone sitting down right here, or they would be on a throne and you'd have 10 people. And the person who's sitting down is the person who answers the questions. Okay, and they're only allowed to say, yes, it is, I agree, or why, or that isn't necessarily so. So you can't just start talking when someone's debating at you. You say, no, it's not. It's that because of this. You have to have very direct questions. And the person standing and says, what's the definition of emptiness? They clap right in your face. And then they have a mala on. What's the definition of emptiness? And then you have to say, it's ba-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra. You say, that's not it. Where does it say that? And then they say, oh, it's in this book. It says it in there. Oh, where's another source? So that's what debate is. So you're asking rapid fire questions about whatever you just studied. So there's kids doing it with colors. How many divisions of color are there? You know, what's the definition of color? You know, what is a primary color? What's a secondary color? Because then they're learning how to debate. They're using easy words and easy subjects to learn how to debate so that later they can plug in how many Mahayana paths are there? How many divisions of the path of accumulation are there? How many divisions of the path of preparation are there? At the path of patience, on the path of preparation, are the lower realms abandoned? So they're just firing questions like that. So you can imagine if you're doing that 7 days a week, for at least 5 hours a day. The debate takes at least 5 hours a day for 20 years. Imagine how much knowledge you accumulate and how certain you are of it. And the reason for all this ba 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 is so that you know what you're talking about. Someone can yell and scream, and say, but you know the truth and can answer questions because you know it. If you know something beyond the shadow of a doubt, if someone's screaming in your face and they're like, "What's your name?" You're able to say, "Jeff," because you know it. You know your name. That's how you get with this material. You get to the point where you know it's so clean that when you're in the intermediate state and you're terrified because you've just died and all this crazy stuff's going on, you can very calmly point your mind with wisdom in the right direction so that you go to a rebirth that is more conducive to you being able to get out of cyclic existence altogether. So the reason for the yelling and all that within debate is so that someone learns to really know what they're talking about. Because when you don't really know what you're talking about and someone starts hammering it out at you, if you're in class and someone really starts challenging you, that's when it separates who knows what from who doesn't know what. And a good Geshe can sit there very calmly. There'll be 20 monks, Ted's seen it, 20 monks firing questions at him, and they'll just sit there and go, "Do, chi chair, charpa mahjong." And then they're just answering very calmly like that. And then you see the frustration on the sides of the people who are doing all of this stuff. The calmer that person is, that's warfare. Because their whole point is to frazzle the person sitting. And when the person sitting isn't moved by it, that's like the strongest thing you can do. And the longer that it goes on, the more frustrated the debater gets and the less able they are to hold their position. So you'll even see someone who's very good at debating able to hold a wrong view and not be moved from it because the debaters aren't skilled enough. And you'll see teachers purposefully stand in a wrong view to see if you really know your information. You'll see there'll be a big debate ceremony with 1,000 monks, and there'll be 20 monks debating one person. It's all microphoned up. Everyone can hear it. And then someone like Rinpoche will stand up and say, "Well, but what about this? What happens if I saw him do it once in Drepung and Go Compson. And he sat down and the place went silent. And Nuru was like, because he had stated a wrong view, but they couldn't break, it was tricky. And it just shut the whole place down. And they were all scholars. So you can see how the reasoning behind this is so you really know it. You think you know it, but do you really, really know this stuff? And becoming a Buddha requires you to really know it. The garishene de dasi dandu, gangin sena de data shingdu, de den. De chiran de mamo ka mamo jana nga do chicher charpa majong. Then Sam, then it got the bardo la drona. Then it Sam den. Then bardo la. Then jewa shema ngi shigamare. De bardo ngi segadu de bardo kali kapudu. Then dendru dan me mambo shira shigadu. De dasi yapo dana shigamare gangin sena de den. I just told him what I said. Dene, anything else? Yes.
What's the meaning of Rinpoche's name?
Which one?
Well, all of them.
Okay. Rinpoche, Changit Sen, Geshe Lobsang Tenzin, Geshe Wandak, Khensur Rinpoche, the Garshene, Charan the Sen Mambo Yure, the Garshene, the Tambo Rinpoche, don't the Gare, Garshene Charang Rinpoche.
Rinpoche is know what the Kaza Abbot means.
Okay, so the reason that he has the name Rinpoche is because he was the abbot of a major monastery. So when you become an abbot, abbot is Ken in Tibetan. So you become precious abbot automatically. So the name Rinpoche gets affixed to your title from there on. as soon as you become the abbot of a monastery, because you become precious. Because Rinpoche means precious, basically precious one. So you have the precious abbot, and then you become the precious retired abbot. It becomes Khensur. He goes from Ken Rinpoche to Khensur. Khensur is retired. So that's why you see Ken Rinpoche when they are abbots, but now he's Khensur Rinpoche because he's retired abbot. But just to throw another aside in, when someone is recognized as a Tulku, they are automatically called Rinpoche, precious one. So there's two ways to become that name. You could be recognized as a Tulku when you're born, or be the abbot of a major monastery. Then the Lobsang.
Lobsang Tenzin galung meres.
So Lobsang Tenzin is his ordained name, his fully ordained monk name. Tenzin because the Jiao Rinpoche.
Oh, yes.
Tenzin is because of the Dalai Lama. And Lobsang is just the name that he was given. And Lobsang means, I'd have to look it up. Lobsang Dondagare.
Lobsang Drapa.
Oh, it's because of Lama Tsongkhapa. Lobsang Drapa was Lama Tsongkhapa's monk name, Lobsang Drapa. So Rinpoche has Lobsang from Lama Tsongkhapa and Tenzin from Dalai Lama. So that's his ordained name, Lobsang Tenzin. Then Geshe is his degree, so he's Geshe Wandak. Ondak Garishine. Ondak.
Geshe Sina.
Geshe nge Lapsang. Yene Geshe Wandak. Wandak Garishine.
Onda Sata Nga Chushu Nga Mire.
Chiram Ming, Chiram Kimsang Ming.
Ni Midle Kezon Jenda Jilagosere. And Anda's Lodrida. And Jagar to Kamshu, the Andas and Gongal.
Gonga.
Gongal Goro. Jagar Kamka. And no one died.
Rinpoche, the Wandak Chiran Sen Yo Maribe.
Onda
Ming Da Dandrar.
Metaban.
Chiran Pugu Chun Chun Du, Chiran Sengare.
Kezon Jenda Sana Town, Luzon Kezon Jenda Lois.
Kelsan Yendra, then May Mambo Chiran Wanda, Getchishe.
Then Anda Logre.
Anda.
Anda Log Jagar Kamshu.
So something about his when he was a child, the Chiran descendant and the Pugu Chun Chun Du, Losan, Gare.
Onda Lois.
Yeah, Ngama, the Chiran Jetse me.
Chujungo.
Jetse me, Gare.
Onda's Log, Kezon Jenda's Log.
Okay, so Kelsan Yendra was his, like when he was a little boy, his name, Kelsan Yendra, but they started calling him Ongdak. That was the name that they called him. So, but in Hindu, Ongdak means egg. So he made it Wangdak. They changed it around. It's just basically from a child time. It's his name that he had. It sounds like it was a nickname, but it didn't mean egg in Tibetan. So it's just a nickname. And then he became Geshe Wangdak.
Okay, and Wang isn't mean powerful?
It does, but the Wangdak, but I think it's just different. I think that he just put it, the Wangdak, the Dondagare, Wang, the Nga, the Jenang, Wang, the Wangdak, the Wang. Yeah, it doesn't have that kind of meaning.
Okay.
It's not how the name arrived. You could say it's similar to this or that, but it's just his name. It doesn't have a meaning.
Thank you.
But a Wang is an empowerment. Like that's the name, when you go to an initiation, that's a Wang. The Jainang is a blessing and a Wang is an initiation or empowerment. So Wang in English is empowerment. So Dak Par always empowered, maybe if it was Wang Dak, because Dak Par means always. But really, they just didn't want him to sound like egg to the Indians. And Rinpoche's always been big, so they thought it was funny when he tells the story. Anyone else? Okay, so we'll do the concluding mandala offering and dedication prayer. Thank you, everyone. And the fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun, and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. I dedicate whatever virtues I have collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Drakpa to shine forever. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra as well. With whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the three times, I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. In that pure land surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. All-powerful Avalokiteshvara Tenzin Gyatso may stay until samsara's end. I pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Wandak, upholder of scriptural and realizational doctrines, the spiritual friend who trained extensively in the five great philosophical texts with exceptional wisdom and perseverance. Suji Rinpoche Kutsi Shapi Denang, Latsu Laran Chemo Kanchion, Umajupa Kanchion.